We good? We're ready? Okay. I was going by my phone, but yeah, whichever. Good evening. Welcome to all. Thank you for being here this evening. It's nice to be back. Hope everyone had a nice holiday and a nice Happy New Year. Laguna Madre Water District notice of the regular meeting Board of Directors. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 8th day of January 2014 at the hour of 6 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on January 2nd, 2014 at 1:30 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041, 551-050, and a copy furnished to the Cameron County Clerk of Texas. We do have the presence of a quorum. All members are present. Let me please have everyone stand for item 2, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, invitation to the audience for discussion. At this time, is there anyone that would like to discuss something? I do have a card that was delivered to us from the American Legion Auxiliary in Port Isabel. The card states, Happy New Year to all of our friends at the Laguna Madre Water District. On behalf of the American Legion Auxiliary, we thank you for your generous donation. Toys for Tots, our annual Christmas party. Our party was quite a success, and all the children were delighted with their gifts. The success of our organization is due to the generous donors like yourself. Thank you again. Just wanted to take that. Board members, anything like to discuss or add or share at this time?
No.
Well, the only thing I gotta say, there was a lot of happy faces in the American Legion. The kids were happy.
Excellent.
Very nice. I like to give you guys.
Excellent. Thank you to all. Moving on to item 4, consider and approve the minutes for the regular meeting of December 11th, 2013. Has everyone had a chance to review their minutes? Are there any questions or comments about the minutes?
Move to approve, sir.
Motion made by Mr. Garcia.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None
Let
opposed?
the record show I abstain.
For the record, Mr. Keplinger abstains. Motion is
You weren't
passed.
here, were you?
I was not here.
Where were you?
Moving to item 5, ratify and approve the emergency purchase of the 20-inch gate valve for water plant 2.
Big gate valve.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is just a purchase for a 20-inch gate valve that we need for emergency. We did not go out for fuel bid, because it's gonna take a 4-week delivery, so we needed it, as soon as we can, so we went ahead and, went out for bid, and we're gonna go with Ferguson Enterprises as the lowest bidder. As soon as, we get this approved, we can, they'll start work on the shipping. And, we actually needed the board approval because it's over $5,000.
Have we already bought the valve?
No, not yet.
We don't have it.
No, we don't have it, no. It's gonna take a few weeks to get it, once we, get the PO or the approval.
What's wrong with the
We
old
have time
one?
because the plant is off right now. They're doing some, rehab on the, clarifier, the clear well. They're doing some, rafters in there, and what else?
Yeah, right now we're replacing the production meters, and then we're adding curtains in the back, and putting the oil baffles.
Where's that gate valve gonna be at?
Right at the meter.
Right at the
Right
meter.
at the meter, right.
It's gonna be needed, huh?
The old one, been there for over 28 years, and it doesn't close completely.
Well, the sooner we get it, the better.
All right, move to approve.
Make a motion, we get it.
Motion was made by Mr. Keplinger, seconded by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed. Motion carries.
Do it the old one.
Thank you.
Question on the chair.
The old one,
Yeah.
we normally, try to set it for scrap metal. Nothing else.
Bring it back to the warehouse, and me and Vic will take it apart and make it work. What do you say, Vic?
That's fine.
Okay, good enough.
Well, butterfly valve is hard to fix.
We have a bunch of WD-40 on it.
Moving to item 6, consider and approve selection of consultant for engineering, design, and construction management services for the Port Isabel Water Reclamation Facility, RFQ number WR-13-12-01. Charles?
Yeah, we advertised starting November seventh, requesting engineering proposals for services related to Port Isabel Water Reclamation Facility. And we received several proposals, due by, December 12th. And then we had our professional services committee, meet on December 30th. And then I don't know if, Mr. Coventry wants to discuss the findings from the committee or, yeah.
I could, if you want me to.
Yeah, I'm
Sure. The Professional Services Committee met, and, it looks like it was, very unanimous, the highest rating engineering company based on, there were seven
Yes.
Engineering firms. I believe we all agreed that Carollo Engineering?
Yes.
Carollo Engineering was the top ranked one. We had a couple of close seconds, but I think it was unanimous. I think Mr. Victor scored it, I think Charles scored it, Mr. Galvan, myself, and Mr. Vela. So we all scored it independently, and Robert, did you score it too? Robert Gomez scored it, and I think we all independently came up with them as the number one firm. They do seem to have a lot more experience, in the reclamation industry, even though currently there's no, it was interesting to me, because I found out, and Robert found out, there's no state regulations yet on reclaiming wastewater, directly, and converting it into potable water. So, and Carollo is working, their company is working with the state regulators, TCEQ, on setting those regulations. So we thought it would, it'd behoove the district to go with them. Anything to add?
No, that's.
Robert?
Question, would the costs and fees compare to the other?
Yeah, well, when you do request for qualifications, you do not, ask for fees or anything like that. It's negotiable. Once the board approves their qualifications, that's the company that's qualified, then the general manager and the engineer will probably negotiate with them and get their cost on what the possibility is of getting our wastewater plant here in Port Isabel converted totally over to reclamation, to reuse, just like we did in Laguna Vista. Although in Laguna Vista, we're just type 1. I think we're looking at going even further and reclaiming some of that water, sending it back to the microfiltration plant, to use it for drinking water. So that's a possibility. We don't know if it's gonna happen yet. It could be a 4 or 5 year project down the road.
So this means that we're not gonna go out for bids because they rate it higher as far as the RFQ. Like when we get ready to bid, well, obviously you're not gonna bid it out
Correct.
because of the rating here.
They're gonna
So
come
we're
up with
not gonna go out for bids on.
The only thing that we go out for bids is the construction part,
Yes.
and they'll be doing the.
If we decide
and-
it's feasible and it's cost effective for us to do that, as opposed to maybe buying more water rights and, you know.
Well, professional engineering procurement rules require us to make a selection based on qualification. And then we'll start negotiating with the first firm, and then if we can reach an agreement with the contract, then we're good. If we can't, then we can consider going to second.
But do we have an idea as to what the cost are, since there's not gonna be any bidders? I mean, whatever
Well-
bid they submit, then are we gonna be, obligated to that or stuck to that, or
Well,
somebody
basically,
bids?
we'll enter into contract negotiations, and then we'll have a follow-up meeting, maybe the first February meeting, where we present the scope of work and, the fees that are associated with it, and then we'll probably release, preliminary, design effort first, and then follow up with full design once the
Excuse me?
board takes a look at the first section.
Really ask, will there be other bids,
Yeah,
from the engineers?
because, if it's not a competitive
Right.
process, whatever bid they submit, they say, well, how are we gonna compare, the cost of this thing?
Yeah, but engineers can't be selected on a competitive bid basis, it's against the rules of
What?
the law. It's a professional service.
It's a professional service, same as the attorney. It's a
We
professional
can't-
service. You don't hire somebody based on what their rates are, You base
Did
on,
you
hire
just
them
say
on
engineers
qualification.
can't be, placed in a competitive process of bidding?
Correct. That's against the.
That's the way it's always been? You just hire them based on their experience and what we're looking for
Are you the
out of a
engineers?
firm.
Okay, I just got questions.
Well, I'm just asking because we're used to bidding out, you know, projects.
Rudy, if we decide to go ahead with the project, we'll bid it out.
This is just for the service.
This is
Just
just
for
for
the
the
Bid it out for the
services,
contractors.
Just the engineering service.
engineering services to see, you know, if it is feasible and what it's gonna eventually cost us, their estimates, you know, to get their estimates, to get some design. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, the next step is negotiating our scope and relevant fee, and then we'll take that to the board for consideration and approval at a follow-up board meeting.
They'll come back to us and let us know what it's gonna cost us to hire them to figure out what we wanna do with this wastewater plant. And if we think it's too high at that time, well, then the board has
It
the
can
right
be
to not,
rejected, yeah.
to reject it, yes.
Just asking because, you know, it's.
Yeah, me too.
Right, I mean, the approval or request action item today would be, you know, giving us authority to negotiate a contract that we can bring for consideration in future board meetings. In terms of negotiations with rural consumers.
So what you're telling me, if we vote for item 6, we're stuck with them guys right there.
Unless we fail to reach an agreement on the contract, then we.
What?
If we can't reach an agreement on the contract, then that
Okay.
would be something to reconsider at that point.
And are you going to do some research to find out from other engineering firms, maybe not necessarily, you know, some on these, or even some on these, on this paper, you know, what engineering cost would be for a project such as this? So we can have some sort of means to measure, you know, the expense.
I mean, I can maybe use some standard practice from ASCE, or I'll look up some typical standards that we can reference to use as a bearing against the actual fee proposal.
Just for our protection, to make sure that, you know, it's whatever we're spending, you know, it's in line with.
Well, we've done a lot of
industry
projects with engineers, and we can always go back in some of our records and look at what did this guy charge for this project, what did that guy charge for that
Well,
project?
yeah, if that's the case, you know, whatever, just so we can have some sort of scope that we can look at, you know, that
Yeah,
we're.
and I mean, we can also look at our history of, you know, with our engineer and major projects and see how it's in line with previous work.
All right.
But we just thought they were the best outfit for this particular project.
Yeah, no, and
Based on their
and
experience.
thank you for y'all's, time and effort on this thing, but I'm just.
Motion to
we're looking
the
at
chair.
the bottom line here, you know.
Motion in order?
If you make a motion, it will be.
Well, I motion that we take Mr. Carello, or the firm of Carello, and, accept them as their, I guess, whatever we're accepting them for.
Well, I think
Our
Negotiate.
engineering design consultants.
I think that, from what I'm hearing Mr. Ortiz say is that your motion should dictate that you're, motioning that allow the, in-house engineer
To take the recommendation of our in-house engineer, that is
to
correct.
enter discussions with Corello Engineering.
Correct.
Right.
And our general manager.
Gentlemen, right.
Motion made by Mr. Thomas,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
Moving to item 7, consider and
Happy now.
approve the
Good.
audit report for year ending September 30th, 2013. The audit report was just distributed at the beginning of the meeting tonight. Are we going to go through this?
No.
Let me, we did meet with the audit committee on Monday and did go through it, but you all changed your fiscal year to September. I was here in August, giving you your April 30th full year, and so in effect, we had a 5-month review or 5-month audit. So, realistically, the financial statements are pretty much the same as what you saw in April, at least with all the disclosures and all that. They've just been updated 5 more months. And the only thing that's changed is some items on the balance sheet and then, of course, your statement of activity. So I'm going to just do this very quickly because we didn't have a real long committee meeting either because it was pretty simple. We don't have a management letter either. There's no findings that we brought out because we just left here in August. But you received an unqualified opinion for the 5 months, which is a clean opinion. But if you just look at page 20, I'm not going to go through everything. Here are all of your funds that you had during the year. And this is your statement of activities, in effect, your income statement. And you can see your general fund, which is the one you normally look at.
I got to page 20 yet.
Okay. You're there? Okay,
Yeah.
now you're there. Page 20, you can see on your left side, your left column, $3.8 million in total revenues, $2.8 million in total expenditures. So you had an excess of revenues over expenditures of about $955,000, of which $280,000 was transferred over to the debt service fund. Okay? So at the end of the year, or at the end of those 5-month period, you in effect had more revenues by $675,000 for that 5-month period in your general fund. So you started, in effect, your fund balances started at $4.6 million, and you ended your fund balance in your general fund at $5,373,000. That's the good news. And then you're flipping back over to page 19.
The bad news.
There is no bad news, actually. Okay. I shouldn't have said that. Well, it's good news number one. Good news number two, you're at the end of the year, page 19, what you ended up with, and you'll see your general fund, your total assets of $6.1 million. Liabilities are about $742,000. The rest of it, in effect, the difference between that is your fund balances, and they're all split up by different types of fund balances, some that are non-spendable, like your prepaid items, your restricted amounts, your capital projects, and then you have your unassigned at $3.8 million. So as a result, you had $5,373,000. Question was posed to me at the meeting, and I always get this question, well, how much fund balance is enough? And are you in good shape? I will tell you, you're in very healthy shape. You've been in healthy shape for a while, and you continue to be. At $3 million, you also have $1.4 million in capital projects that you have in there also. So when you look at, in effect, your total unrestricted, if you want to call that, is probably the best way to do it. You probably need to look at the capital projects, the annexation, sale of land, and the unassigned. And so you have about $4-point-something million, a little over that in total fund balance. When you look at entities, municipalities, whatever, depending upon where their monies are coming from, if their monies are coming from directly from taxation versus, let's say, federal grants or state grants, well, the more federal or state grants you have, in effect, a smaller amount of fund balance you need, the less amount of months that you need in operation. But if most of it's coming from operations, then you need a little bit longer period. You need a little bit larger fund balance. And so when you look at, and I forget what the number was per month, what was the number a month?
606.
About 60,000?
600,000.
600,000 a month, right?
Yeah, 3.6.
3.6. So that gives you about, at 3.6, that gives you about 6 months worth of operation. So right now you've got about a little over that. So if something were to catastrophically hit this area, God forbid, you've got enough to operate on, and it's you're healthy, is what can I say. You are healthy.
That's not including the $2 million we have in emergency.
That's correct. That doesn't include that either.
Sitting pretty.
So you're sitting very, 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 very healthy, and that's it. The report just got out, and we were working on it night and day because we're trying to get this thing out. I know your meeting was today, so as a result, we met Monday, and it was going from a 12-month to a 5-month period changes a lot of the descriptions and stuff, but we finally got that done. So, if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Board, anyone have any questions or anything, or we? Motion to approve by Mr. Garcia. Seconded by Mr. Keplinger. Are all those in favor? Okay, thank you for your time and efforts. Moving to item 8, consider and approve renewal of windstorm, hurricane, and hail insurance. Robert?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, back in 2012, in June 2012, we went out for bids on all the insurances, and it included windstorm. The bids were out for a year with a year option to renew. We've already gone through all the other insurances. The last insurance that we were waiting for, it started here in January. The other insurances started in October. We had that option, so we went with it. The windstorm insurance is pretty much regulated by the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association. So So regardless of who sells this insurance, it's gonna have the same tag on it. And back in 2012, we got this insurance through Texas Mutual Insurance, from Mr. Albert, Salinas. And, it's time to renew that at this point. It did go up, I'm sorry, it did go up by $4,000, almost 5%, it was 4.947%.
That's what I was gonna ask, if we had increased.
Yes. Yeah, and I asked Mr. Salinas about this, but it really has nothing to do with this, because we haven't filed any claims, but since this is regulated Texas-wide, so, it depends on who else has filed, any claims.
We didn't get any bids, this is it.
The bid, they all come in the same, because they're all regulated by the
State,
Texas Insurance.
Texas Insurance Pool. Motion by motion made, for approval by Mr. Thomas. Second by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None, motion carries, thank you. Moving to item number, 9, consider and discuss healthcare insurance increase to district and employees under the Affordable Care Act. Mr. Gomez?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, here again. The increase on the insurance started again in January. This is way beyond our control. This comes under the Affordable Care Act. And, it was just recently where we found out how much exactly it was gonna go up. At one point in time, we thought it was $5, but it's, grown a lot more than that. This basically is to help cover, those people that don't have insurance. The federal government is the one that's imposing this, increase. And as you can see in the schedule on the second page, by month, the increase per individual for employees that the district pays is $60.61. Employee and spouse, the individual that has that insurance is gonna pay $34.57 more a month. Employee and children is $27.43, and employee and family is $42.20. When you look at the total cost for January through September on the far right, you see the increase of $10,464.71 for employees only, and $311.13 employee spouse, $1,974.72 for employee and children, and that's a little bit more than that. $379.78 for employee and family. Now, what I was told, or what I was asked is, if the district was, going to be paying for the, employee and spouse, employee and child, or employee and family, and the reason I was asked is that there's a lot of companies that are picking up this tab on the employee's portion, so I couldn't make that decision, and that's why I'm bringing it to you, for the board to decide, which way you're gonna go.
What do you mean companies? You're talking about private companies or public companies? Because it's-
We're already gonna pick up our
Mostly,
share of the my motion on the floor is to not.
Well, but I had a question. When you mention companies, you're talking private companies, privately owned companies that are picking up the family and children, or public companies? I don't know of any public company that picks up children and families.
What's the city doing, what's the city of Port Isabel doing, what's the town of
There's a
South
motion
Padre
on the
Island
floor,
doing, what's the
Mr.
school
Chairman.
district doing? That's what I would like to know.
Robert,
Really don't
Robert, you
know
answer
that.
that?
I don't know exactly what is for the record, Albert Salinas, Texas Insurance Service, and we're taking care of
Who are you?
Blue Cross and Blue Shield insurance.
Who are you?
I'm sorry? Albert Salinas, with Texas Insurance Service Center. We were appointed your agent for the Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We handle your dental and life insurance, and at the same time, we went ahead and took over these responsibilities on that side. But back in October, when your renewal came back in, the original renewal was about 8% over what your original costs were. And we knew that there were going to be some additional taxes and fees coming down the line in January the 1st. So we did negotiate with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and they did head and reduce that rate to about 4%. So you did save that 4% increase back in October.
As you know, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, that's otherwise known as, has additional fees that are tacked on. Some insurance companies have already implemented them into their premiums, you know, during that renewal. So, for instance, if you guys were with United Healthcare, that tax rate have been built into your October premiums or your October renewal. Blue Cross and Blue Shield is one of the other companies that actually did it a little bit differently because we were not sure by the federal government, as things had been changing, we were not sure exactly how much a percentage of increase or what the additional tax was going to be towards us. I mean, there was transitional reinsurance fees of $5.25. Then they've also included on the health insurance fees as well as a couple other taxes on there. So they didn't have a definite amount of how much impact it would be onto your premium. So Blue Cross didn't add that in October. They were going to add it in once they get final results from the federal government. Around very late November, early December, they went ahead and released the amount, which was going to be for a group of your size, 51 plus, of 3.5% of what the total premium is. Now, it's not so much on a per individual basis, it's 3.5% flat across the board. So what happens, and I know you had mentioned, you know, what are other ones doing? I also do the insurance along with another broker for the City of Harlingen. The City of Harlingen, they did go ahead and take on the responsibility of the employee and the additional tax for those dependents also. Although they do have, like I said, there's every entity makes their own decision on how they want to go about in doing so. Come October this year, once your renewal comes in, the rates will be factored into one to where, you know, everybody will know employee only, it's X amount, employee and spouse, this is what your premium is, not adding on the additional premium. So when you look at that page up there, and it's not so much when you see employee spouse, you see the monthly premium of $987.71, and it shows an additional tax of $34.57. Well, that's not what the $34.57 is not for that one person that has a spouse. That's actually for the employee and the spouse. So there's two people included in that. So it's a $16.61 for the employee only, since you all pay for that. So the actual difference of what it would be on that scenario would be, about $18 difference on there. So really the majority comes on to, you know, the ones that pay in the employee only, where you have the most membership on there. You have about 80 employees right now on the books that you have, and with one person participating in employee and spouse, one on the employee family, and 8 for employee and children.
We can read that.
Yes, sir.
What are you telling us?
Well, like I said,
You just explained what I was reading.
Yes, sir. Well, like I was saying, it's not that full amount that we're seeing up there, the full total amount from the employee portion versus the employer portion.
The employer portion, we're gonna get hit too.
Yes, sir,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hit the biggest, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what those taxes are, why this is coming out.
Well, gentlemen, I already had a motion on the floor, but let me go through this. I'm a dreadfully old man on Medicare, and they tell me my Plan B will go up 140%. Ain't nobody subsidizing me on that. I don't want to subsidize the employees on what it's going to cost them extra, because it's going to cost the district more too. It's not like we're dumping the whole burden on them.
Is that
It's their
figure,
portion.
any idea what the figure is the company is gonna get hit with? Isn't
You're not gonna know till October.
We won't know till October.
What is
It's
it?
easy, I'm just trying to make a living.
So those are the numbers,
This number here,
are
though,
estimates
It's
of
for
what it's
January,
actually gonna be.
but there's gonna be another fee
It's
on,
going to increase with October.
there's gonna be another big fee in October on
What
top of
else?
this.
The fees will be factored into your renewal premium based on, you know, claims and experience and whatnot. Once the company does their analysis and comes back with that renewal, those fees will be incorporated in that.
And that, I do
You
know,
know
maybe
what our existing, what the district existing, or what they're soon to be,
I'm sorry, sir.
additional funds are gonna be, percentage.
The additional, for next year, it's gonna be the same amount, that they are going to be included in there. What the actual renewal fee is, we won't know because, you know, it is based on your claims and membership and different data on top of
We're
it.
looking at, 3.5% per employee. Am I right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying,
What
Jeff?
percentage will the district pay per employee at this time? We know,
100%?
what,
Isn't it 100%
Yes,
for
sir.
right now?
I mean, the district does pay 100% for the
Yeah,
employees.
just-
well, I know that, but what
Employee
additional fee how much more are we going to pay?
3.5.
It's gonna go up 3.5.
We're gonna go
3.5%.
3.5 for them, and so basically you're saying we're gonna give the employees a 7% and absorb their, am I right on this? Or am I
Well,
on
it's
what?
3.5% of the premium, not an individual person, of just what the total premium is.
There are 70 employees, and the district is paying for the employees now.
Yeah, because is that the policy? We have that as policy, right? That we pay,
It's every year, I think, we improve it, every year, we improve it.
yeah, I know, but that's part of our policy, that we pay 100% of the employee-only
Portion.
portion, right? We don't have it in policy that we pay employee plus dependents or spouses or anything like
It's
that.
all board approved, that's why the
Yeah.
question that they had from the company was, does the board, or does the company wanna pay for the spouses and children, or just
That increase.
employees? That's the only question they have.
Yeah.
Employees only, or?
I'm in favor of employees only, personally.
I personally too, I had a question though about the deductible, is that $250 per, just for the employee, or is that if it's an employee and spouse, employees and children?
It is times 2 for the employees and
It is
families.
times 2, so it'll be 500 for a family, or, okay, should be
The benefit wise, the benefit selection that you'll have in place, that doesn't make any type of change whatsoever.
Okay.
Let me tell you, 250 deductible is.
It's
Very
good,
good,
very
deal.
good, it's a heck of a deal,
Very
so,
good.
I mean, but if your rates are gonna go up next year sky high, you
You
know.
may have to increase that deductible.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, you know, we just, and I think I'm
There's a
seconding your
motion
motion.
on the floor, but
I
it
think I'm
didn't die
seconding-
from lack of a second.
Well,
Your motion was not to do anything.
Right.
all right, well, let's go with this motion then. Let's, if anybody
The
wants to
motion
second it.
is to not do anything and not include spouses and children.
Anybody,
No, anybody, even employees.
anybody, on the 3.5% increase,
No, his motion was
Anybody.
No.
to exclude
He's
any,
talking
to
everybody.
about-
not include anybody.
Okay? There's a
They'll
motion
cough
by,
up their 3.5%.
a motion made by
I'm gonna
Mr.
cough up
Thomas.
my $200.
He doesn't wanna pay the 3.5.
Are you figuring this out, Robert?
Also.
But, again, if the district doesn't,
I'm trying to understand what you mean by not do anything.
Well, if the
I don't
district doesn't have to pay that 3.5%, you do, buddy.
The employees do.
Bingo.
That's what he wants, the employees to pay the difference. That's what his motion is.
Whatever increase, keep up 5%.
I mean, I'm getting 130%, I'm getting 130%, increase for just me. Sounds like it's pretty cheap for anybody with a family.
Okay, motion dies with lack of a second.
Can we do a workshop or something and figure it out slower, or take more time to see what?
Just 3.5% for the employees, I'll make a motion
Yeah.
just to absorb the
And-
3.5% for the
Insurance
employees.
rates go up every year.
For the employees,
And,
like we've always done in years past.
Yeah.
A motion made by, Mr. Keplinger, and there's a second by Mr. Garcia. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Are there any
One
opposed?
opposing vote.
Opposed is Mr. Thomas. The motion carries. Thank you. We are moving on to,
Point of information, we will have to go out for bid again this year, for another year, so more than likely these rates will go up.
Well, nothing's coming down, just water.
yeah,
It's
nothing.
going up.
Okay, we're moving on to item, 11, thank you. Consider and approve financial report for 2 months ending November 30th, 2013. Has everyone had a chance to review the Disbursements and the financial reports,
Question?
yes?
We got 2 light bills out at Las Cuates this month, and I was noticing, what's the, I never noticed that before. Was something I missed, or is this,
Well, we have 2 meters. We have 1 meter on pump 1 and 2, which is the old one, and then we have a second meter on pump 3.
okay, okay.
Sorry, Mr.
Well,
Chairman.
we went up to 40,
Hold on, that's item 12.
4,200
Did we skip an item?
bucks.
He's talking about item 12.
We have to go back to item, because we were
11.
discussing only item, number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we have to go to item 10 to consider
Yeah.
and then approve. So we skipped item 10. I mean, y'all did approve it, but it was.
You
during that
discussed it
session.
first, now you're taking action.
Ken got approved.
Call item 10, Scott, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
for the, item 10, consider and approve increase on health insurance due to Affordable Care Act fees. I'm
Not a
sorry.
motion, go.
Motion to approve the
I thought that was
employees'
already done.
3.5% increase.
Motion made by Mr. Keplinger for approval of the 3.5% employee only.
Second.
And there's a second by Mr. Garcia. Are all those in favor?
Still one opposing though.
Okay, for the record, Mr. Thomas is opposed. Motion does carry. Thank you. We're moving to item 11, consider and approve the financial report for 2 months ending November 30th, 2013.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you'll see on the first page, you have the revenues for the general fund. Total to $687,998, and expenditures of $952,390. So we have expenditures over revenues of $264,392 at this point, or as of November. On the second page, you'll see where the revenues are coming from. It has a list of revenues on the $687,998. Then the following page is page 1 of the debt service fund, and that shows revenues of $1,742,953, with expenditures of $347,230, with revenues over expenditures of $1,395,723. The second page of the debt service will show you the revenues, and as you can see, since we're now in a new fiscal year, what you're looking at is the collections for October and November, as far as taxes are concerned. So there's very little, delinquent tax that is being collected at this point. Most of that 1.6 million, that is, current taxes, which is at about 64% of the, appraised value that we approved. On the next page is page 1 of the capital project fund. Has a total revenue of $2,568, with expenditures of $941,107. Expenditures over revenues of $938,539. And that revenue, as you can see on the following page, is basically all interest. And then on the next page is the first page of the emergency fund. That shows revenues of $392, no expenditures. And as you can see on the next page is that revenue is basically interest that the $2 million in the emergency fund is earning. Any questions?
Thank you. Good report. Is there a motion at this time?
To accept,
There's a motion by, Mr. Vella for approval.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Keplinger. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item number 12, consider and approve the disbursements.
That's what we were talking about.
Has everyone had a chance to review the disbursements? Would you like to pull any disbursements out for discussion, or can we get a motion for
Las
approval?
Cuates thing was, and, I do wanna know on page 9, what we spent at Guitar Center for $550.
Tambourine.
That was, Frankie Cisneros'
Yes, sir.
According.
here,
Excuse me?
at the award banquet that we had.
Okay.
Frankie Cisneros, when he retired, the retirement gift that, district
Okay.
gives.
After
But you
44
get an electric
years,
guitar or what?
he's,
I don't know, was it? Steve?
What do you get?
Electric, guitar.
Yeah?
Like to play, I guess, and,
No.
All right.
I don't know if it was an electric or not. Acoustic or-
for 44 years of service, he deserves it.
Oh, yeah. I hope they gave him the picks too.
Hope they give him some lessons, man.
So, I think he's played pretty good.
Also on page 8 for Home Depot, we got under miscellaneous, and you know I hate miscellaneous. I've told you guys this, I mean, for the last year, that I just hate this column that says miscellaneous. So we got a Home Depot for $399. And, just wondered what we spent $399 under miscellaneous. Also, travel and training on page 8 is 7 times 211. I think that's us guys going to Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas. What's Las Vegas? I don't know anything about Las
We're
Vegas.
discussing first one, the miscellaneous on the
Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Yeah.
That one was, Chilo Barrientos, retirement gift.
His retirement, but he get a Black and Decker solid drill kit or
One
what?
and a generator, it's a generator.
Oh,
Man, I hope when I retire, I get something. I think I'll just get shoved out the door.
Golden wrench.
And where did we spend $170 for boots? I mean, wait a minute. Somebody explain me why we spent $170 for a pair of boots.
For a pair of boots?
Red Wings.
Oh, we don't, actually, we don't spend that, we buy the,
They're
for the
reimbursed.
employee, but we deduct it from the employee's payroll.
Who's the idiot that spends $170 for a pair of boots? We need to get him off our payroll. He's not a very frugal person.
steel
That's
toes.
his choice.
Steel toes.
I don't
Steel
think,
toe cowboy boots.
I don't think we should use that word.
So,
He's probably smarter than we are.
yeah,
Those boots will last
yeah, I
you
believe
6 or 7
that.
years.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you got the boots.
You know, bury him in his boots.
So, back, Mr. Engineer, back to the Las Cuates, $1,372 and $28.35. How'd we break that out? On the
well,
light
it's
bill.
just that I mean, which page you on?
I forgot.
I mean, I just know offhand, but pumps 1 and 2 are on 1 meter, and pump number 3 is on a 2nd meter, and that's an interim condition until the new pump station's built.
Which one's the new one on? Can you tell me the difference?
So I wouldn't know which one's which.
Okay.
The one with the
No,
lowest
'cause
I
original.
mean, I would think the new pump is the one getting the most use out of it, so that's probably the higher bill. The other
Well,
ones are
The
just
only one.
used for level control.
That's the only one that we're using, actually.
Yeah.
The higher bill is the one.
The new pump?
am I gonna bring up all these meals at Whataburger and Las Cuates and stuff like that? Sound like you're eating out too much. We have been, still under disbursements, but, maybe a whole different article.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes,
I just kind of like to say something on those, like on those meals at Whataburger. A lot of those meals, are for the employees that are working.
Off hours.
They have a water line break that they can't get out, they can't leave, so that's, to get their meals paid.
okay.
Do we get Domino's to deliver pizza?
We,
Good.
That's what they want.
I would like to see if we can get on, Victor. Is there any way we can get meters put on the different pumps, amperage flows, meters on the different, because what we've seen since we put that new pump out at Las Cuates is like a $2,000 or $3,000 a month savings in our electric bill. Man, if you can't buy into that deal, you can't buy into nothing, right? And I'd like to, I don't know how to do it, maybe, Mr. Electrician, how can we run a meter and find out what the different, motors and stuff in our waste, in our plants are pulling? You know, it's an amperage draw. And the ones that are wore out, let's get rid of them and let's replace them with some good stuff. They're gonna this pump's gonna pay for itself in 2 years.
That's part of our plan, that we, install, variable frequency drives, the VFDs. And, we're starting at the water treatment plant with the new rehab at the microfiltration. We're gonna be doing that at, High Service and where else, Charles?
Well, our next goal is
And
gonna
then-
be getting the higher efficiency of Port Isabel with the
Isabel, right.
clean water.
Of course, our
The wastewater.
windmill out there's gonna run one pump, right?
We can get
That's
that
a joke,
in our-
that's just a joke.
No, the other day it was cranked down about 2,000 watts.
The other day it was blowing 40 miles an hour.
But, we are working on that one,
Okay.
Mr. Whitey, Thomas.
I'll make a motion to, approve disbursements.
Motion's been made by Mr. Thomas,
Second.
second by Mr. Vella. Are all the members in favor? They are, none opposed, thank you. Moving to item 13, General Manager's Report, item A, Tip of Texas Coastal Bird Count.
I got an email from, a gentleman that does the bird count, and I asked him some questions, just to find out how important that is, and, he, and how many birds they counted. So he said it's kind of important to them, I guess, for their advocacy to count birds. They're bird watchers, so they love to do that. But I asked them to see what the count was last year compared to this year. They mentioned that last year they had 12,000 birds at the reservoir at that certain time that they counted. And then, this year they had half of that, 6,000. So,
Meanwhile, need less chemical to treat the bottom of the pond.
right. Well, that was my concern, see how many birds are out there, and, they come in and out, they're not just there sitting waiting for you to count. So he told me that was the count that they had, like half of last year, and the reason being that it rained a lot this year, so they
Yeah.
had water everywhere else.
Everywhere else.
So, that was a different, I just wanted to bring it up to you guys that it was important to count the birds.
Or firecrackers.
More birds.
Did he tell you
And
how
we
to
kind
count
of,
them?
we call it duck
Did he
poop
tell you how
pond,
to count
guy.
them?
No, he didn't tell me.
I'll let you know later. I don't want that man over there to know. I'll let you know.
Okay, and then the next one, we had a meeting with, the golf course, personnel out there, the IBC, that took over Touchstone, Golf yesterday, and, they're trying to come up with an idea or an option to pay the water bill, because right now it's getting paid through the IBC bank, and that's the most important part of it that I told them yesterday when we met. But, we need to come up with a plan to see, because there's, several associations in there that are paying different,
Five,
checks.
am I correct?
to
5 different associations, plus the
Plus
golf course.
the golf course itself, right. So we're still working at it, and I thought they were gonna come up with something yesterday, but they didn't. And, we don't have all the information provided where all the irrigation meters, we're still trying to get more irrigation meters in our mapping. That way I can go back and tell them, look, these are the irrigations that are paying for potable water. And, those that are not, they're getting, irrigation water, from certain areas and there's no meters there, according to our maps, those are the guys that are connected to the raw water. So they're gonna come up with another plan and an option to pay for the water bill, not just from IBC, but to the association.
But they're current on their bills.
Yes,
Are we
they're
correct? They're not behind like last
No.
year?
They're actually ahead,
Good.
on the payment, but we haven't told them that.
Don't tell them.
I didn't tell them. Anyhow, just, bring an update on that. And, we still probably, need to come back later on when they decide, see what they wanna do, and, our attorney here, our counselor, to find out what kind of agreement we can come up with. And again, once they sell, we'll probably have to do another agreement with a new company, so we're kinda holding off on that part, unless they wanna agree right now on something, or the IBC bank is managing the whole golf course,
Well,
but,
basically, right now, the ball's in their court. They gotta figure out what they're gonna do before they can even come to us and say, and give us a proposal.
right.
Am I correct?
Right, that's correct, and as long as they're paying the bill, that's the important part in our side.
That's all that counts.
We're just waiting
So,
to see what they come up with.
Kind of a moot situation right now until they figure out what they're doing out there.
Okay, and then, on the other one, the TCDRS says, I got a invitation for the conference. It's gonna be a conference for our retirement system, which is, Texas, counties and districts, retirement system. On July the 9th through the 11th, this summer, there'll be a conference up in Austin. So maybe, the board would like to attend that conference. And we have plenty of time, so let me know, call Daisy if, or email her and, or myself. We can set you up to go to that one. I know there's a lot of questions from Mr. Thomas here that, were concerning, our future on the retirement system.
Your future, not mine,
Our future, yes, sir,
you guys.
yes.
Don't want you to wind up like Detroit
If, y'all attend that
or Branham.
conference, you'll be able to understand what's going on, answer all your questions.
Yes, I wanna go. I'm in.
Okay. Anybody else, let me know later on. If, you know,
Can we even
schedule-
pull out? Can we even pull out of it as a Laguna Madre Water District and put our own, retirement system together? I don't know.
Well, that's,
Well, wait a minute, don't tell me just 'cause you're tied to the state
no.
that you're too big to fail. Right?
Go to the conference.
Freddie Mac,
Bring your
Fannie
questions.
Mae,
Take
pick
it to
one
the
that's
conference.
too big to fail. What? Excuse me?
That would be a good question to ask the attorneys there.
Yes.
Go to the conference with your questions, that's what I'm
Well,
gonna
watch
do.
out a bunch of them. I'll be there, put me down. Mark me down, girl. Mark me down there, girly
Right,
girl.
thank you. And that's it on that part, then, the next one will be the engineer's report.
Charles, moving to item 14.
Okay, right, first item was just to give you an update on the Luna Vista Security Place pipe, all tied to the water region. And it's form scheduled to mobilize on February 10th, and they scheduled about 15 days to be down to take care of lining the pipes in Luna Vista, and, you know, help reducing the TDS that's entering the plant. And then the other side of this, item is just, the mulch. There's still, some punch list items that they haven't addressed. So we haven't paid their final invoice or released retainage, but we did reach an agreement on liquidated damages, so that's already settled. And, the other aspect is on the wind turbine, is we need to, purchase a second transformer, to get it to correct some errors that it has. And so we're gonna just route that, effort and get it taken care of real quick, you know, kind of within the damages part that we're covering. So, basically, with that, we'll be able to put that project to rest. The other side of it is Christensen, needs to work on his private side, so we'll have to help coordinate his connection. They're eager to, start receiving some of that water, they just still need to basically, put some canals on their side and connect to their driver's soccer there. So they're working on that, and, that'll help us. Once they show that they've compacted their dirt, then we can get permitted to give them reclaimed water as well.
What kind of permitting do they need, what is that?
Since all of their soil fits the conditions of the clay liner, all they have to do is scarify the top 2 feet and compact it, and then we document through a geotech engineer, well, this is Christensen's responsibility, that they compact it and they're maintaining the clay line storage area. And then, they'll be able to connect and we can get permitted through TCQ.
Because they have a lake over there, the Corps of Engineers they don't get involved? Because they have like a,
No, as long as their storage pond meets the clay liner requirements, that's the extent of, it'll be a second permit, just like the one we already got for the South Padre Island development.
It's not on the, large lake that's out there, it's another pond that's closer to the.
No, it's, I don't know if you've ever been to their house,
Close to their ranch.
there's one bridge crossing between 510 and their house, and that's where they would have storage.
Well, once the staging form's done, how soon can we test for the TDS?
Yeah, once they finish up the job at the end of February, so in March we could do the testing and see our reductions in the solid.
And that was, one of his next items, right, station form?
Well, yeah, what we're talking about here is all part of the Laguna Vista.
Okay, yeah.
But that's basically where we're at, so hopefully by the end of, by March, we'll be able to test it, see what we accomplished for the lining.
Yeah.
And then we might do the manhole rehab, so we'll be putting both of those together. So just moving on to lift station 19, spoke to the contractor today, they're very positive, they got past these rain events and the dewatering's doing its job. They're gonna start the shoring or putting key piles tomorrow and begin excavation, so they can start, digging a 30-foot deep hole and get that wet well installed. And so that, you're gonna see a lot of activity out there, you know, in the next month or so. And they should be on schedule to be out by the end of February, so they're still pretty comfortable with meeting the schedule. That's part of the temporary construction.
Is this gonna be an expansion or rehab?
It's a new wet well.
It's a new one?
And new valve vault, new electrical controls, new electrical service. It's basically a new lift station. And it's meeting the current volume requirements on the current DCQ chapter 213 rules versus what we have right now on the other side. So just moving on to Cuates pump station pipeline. The pump station, they're working on the backfill along the cans, and gonna be scheduling a tie-in to our 36-inch raw water line next week. And with all the weather delays they've been hit with between September and this past month, you know, we're still looking at a completion for the pump station around early June or late May.
I knew it wasn't gonna be March.
Right. So right now, I mean, I think the current schedule has final completion on June 5th. So, June 5th.
Told you that before it rained.
No, that was about a month ago. So we're having our happy birthday, early. Well, anyway, so basically, on January 15th, we're having our progress meeting. And then there also, one part that's in their contract is upgrading the data at Water Plant 2. Because they're gonna upgrade the system that monitors the elevated storage tanks and the raw water system. And so they're gonna basically we got the equipment delivered this week. And so they're gonna, part of their job is upgrading our SCADA at Water Plant 2, and also the communications with Cuates Pump Station as well. So that's on track. We'll be coordinating that here by the end of the month. And then Cornette's, right now, he's just waiting for the mud to dry up so we can keep moving on the pipeline. He's about, 3/4 of the way down sort of this east-west route of Old Port Road.
Yeah.
So he's about to get into the Boree track and get over to San Juan Road. That's where the pipeline's at right now. So, you know, he's on track, probably be finishing by the end of the
Well, he's been moving it.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah.
So that's on schedule. Just moving on to water treatment plant 2. Any questions on Cuates, or I can go on to water plant 2?
No, I went out there, I went by the other day and looked at all the broke down equipment and hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And it was raining.
Right. Exactly. So, you know, they've just dealt with a lot of rain and tough dewatering conditions, but they're past the worst of it. They're gonna start moving faster now. I think electrical conduit, if it hasn't showed up, that's the next thing coming here in the next week or so.
Everything's working. We can make it, you saying off the 16, we can make a tie-in if we have to into the new plant?
Well, we're already scheduling because we always have shutdowns once the reservoir's full for about 3-4 days. And so during our normal shutdown, we're gonna do a tie-in to the existing lines, so it doesn't interrupt service.
To tie into the new microfiltration plant?
No, well, this is the
That's
Cuates
the
pump
question.
station.
That
I
was my
was still on Cuates pump station.
Oh, no. Let's get over to Port Isabel now.
Water plant 2? Water plant 2 has been shut down since December 16th.
Okay,
And we're doing an extended shutdown to install the baffles inside the clear well.
okay.
And also take care of our operations items like changing out the production meters, replacing the 20-inch valves.
Well, once we put, the new filtration plant on the line, what are we gonna do with wait a minute, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, the filters get, we're not decommissioning, we're basically closing the valve, and they'll be out of service until we find a use or, you know, see a need to bring them, consider rehab. But for the most part, the granular media filters will be taken out of service, valve will be closed, and all the water will be going through the new membranes.
Charles, you said you put in new production meters, is that the meters that are recording, what's coming out of the plant?
Yes,
Is that
what's
what you're
coming in,
saying?
it's what's coming inside and outside and leaving.
Because we've had some discrepancies, we've had a lot of water missing, so what is?
Right, so it'll improve our accuracy for
Like,
production.
Yeah, I'd be interested, we'd be interested to see what those numbers look like.
Can't wait till we have a water drinking party over here.
Water drinking.
Right, and then we also use that
should bring
to
this up.
determine how much dose we need, so it actually helps everybody.
Count me in.
But remember, we still use a lot of water that we're not reclaiming when we're filtering. There's be a microfiltration, where we're still losing water when you're filtering.
Yeah, the backwash
That's
will be
what
about
comes
the
out,
same.
what goes in and comes out. We still lose water to wash out and things like that.
Right.
Not as much water as we're showing,
Yeah.
Right, I mean,
That don't come out.
I think the reduction in our losses from backwash is gonna be, now we have a new system versus all the losses and valves that will close, that we have today. So, we'll see how much of an improvement we get off of it.
Yeah.
And, and basically right now, construction for the MF install and all of Ferguson's work's about 95%. The building, we had a walkthrough today for partial acceptance, where, basically the pending items for the building is painting the final painting on the floor and cleanup, and then paving. And so we're looking at basically those disconnects that are sitting there at electrical manhole 2, they're gonna be gone by the end of the week. And, so next week, we're gonna be cleared to, start doing the power wash and cleaning up the floors inside the building, and we'll also be cleared to do paving outside. So that's gonna be coming here by the end of the month, over the next 2 weeks or so. And then, we're scheduling to start commissioning the second week of February. And so that's gonna start that 8-9 week period where we're commissioning the membranes, doing the 30-day testing, and then they'll be online serving the system. So that's where we're at with North Lake too.
Sounds good.
Can't wait.
Hey, we're not gonna have to go into liquidated damages on this one, right?
Well, we'll bring that up next meeting, cause it's only, the building contract is
Only
the
the
only
building.
issue that we have to get creative, but we should talk about that in closed session.
That's different, we're already in that one.
Mhm.
Yep.
Moving on, thank you, Charles. Moving to item 15, Finance Director's Report. Robert?
Yes, sir. Well, I had added AT&T because I was hoping to have good news. I received this statement from AT&T back in December that I reported, where they owe us $10,029.06, but they still haven't sent the check. So I'm gonna be calling them and finding out what the status is on that refund. And hopefully I'll
That'll
have
help pay
to...
for the employee 3.5%.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's what we can do.
Hopefully I'll have some better news for you at the next meeting. The next item, RCI, that's our Records Consultant Incorporated, they'll be coming in February, the first week in February, to update our records as far as the filings that we set aside, and put us in compliance with our records retention, as far as what we need to be at. They'll get rid of old records that we have that are outdated, and that go beyond the normal
7 year.
date, yeah. And they'll have the ones we just finished with.
And then shred it? Is that-
Yes, sir.
Anything else to discuss before the meeting is adjourned?
Motion two.
Motion to adjourn at 7:05 PM. I'd like to thank everyone for their time and efforts in being here this evening.